Howie Roseman has executed a masterclass offseason here in 2023, getting us set for the 2023 football season. If you don't agree with that, I don't know what to tell you. It's been an amazing offseason, and obviously compared to what Daryl Morey is doing with the Sixers right now, that's everything right there. Anyway, we're going to talk a lot of Eagles today. We're going to talk about the offseason, what went right, what went wrong for the Eagles. Training camp is right around the corner. We got Phillies, we got Sixers, NBA, NFL, all different things on the agenda docket. This extended episode here of Trending in the AM. It starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Forgot to put it there. Tell a friend. Get in the conversation this morning as we go live every single morning here, normally at 8:30. Some days we just need extra time. So we're ready. I don't even have my first sip of coffee in yet, and we are here live 8:10 a.m. because lots to talk about today. Lots I got on the agenda. And get involved in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, great, retweet it out. But if you want to get interactive, you got to head over to the Philadelphia Sports Network YouTube or Facebook page. It's the only place where I can see your comments, and it's the only place where your opinions actually matter. Howie Roseman, the Masterclass offseason, that is our main topic of the day. Main thing we're talking about. We could talk about the Phillies' second half of the season now. The All-Star break's over. Let me see in my notes here. There's a little fun Tyrese, Maxey, Dame Lillard analogy that I saw on Twitter that I really want to get into. Some Major League Baseball and NBA rule changes, Hard Knocks, Saquan Barkley. There is so much we could cover today. What is up, John? How you doing this morning? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Eagles, Howie Roseman specifically. I like to say it's called the Masterclass offseason. He has done so much, so well this offseason. I did run a poll. You guys know I love my polls. Ran a poll over on Twitter at Beard of Knowledge. I'm going to pull up the poll here on my side screen just to make sure we've got all the right answers. It's only the first day of the poll, so it's going to run through the weekend. But we are 280 votes in so far. I put out there, what was Howie Roseman's most important move this offseason? And give me reasons why. I put these options up there, drafting Jalen Carter. I put in signing, we traded, not signed, DeAndre Swift. So that addition, the extension of Jalen Hurts, which was obviously going to win this poll, but not as much as I thought, and there were quite a few others put into the comments of this poll. So 280 votes. Jalen Carter got 33.6 so far. DeAndre Swift got 6.1% of the vote. Extending how Jalen Hurts got 57.5. I am so surprised that it only got 57.5. As soon as I clicked post of that poll, I almost thought that I needed to, take the poll down right away and redo it because obviously everybody was going to vote for Jalen Hurts. I'm surprised it was only 57% of the 280 votes. What's that? 140. It's probably about 160 of the 280 votes went to Jalen Hurts. I'm surprised it wasn't 200 of the 280 or 250 of the 280 because that was obviously the big thing this weekend or this offseason for the Eagles and for Howie Roseman. But Jalen Hurts was going to be here this year one way or another, whether he got his extension or not. And it's a great, great thing, and we will get into it. But Howie Roseman did do a lot of other great things this offseason. Obviously, not just the signing or the trading for players, but the moving on from certain players because of price. Like letting Javon Hargrave go was a great move because of the $90 million contract at his age that he signed. And then being able to go out there, and 37% of the people in the poll agreed, being able to go out there and draft Jalen Carter where they did, possibly the best player in the draft. When it's all said and done and we do these redrafts, the hypotheticals, the hindsight's 2020 redrafts of NFL drafts like everybody loves to do. Jalen Carter could go down as a guy that goes number 1 overall. Not to toot my own horn, but I've always believed that Howie could build a great team. You are one of the few, Peanut. George, who's always in the comments of the show, he's another one that was always believing in what Howie Roseman was capable of. And you know me, I'm not a guy that's afraid to admit my mistakes. And I was wrong. I have another thread going on Twitter, and we'll get to it tomorrow. It's what are the greatest what ifs in Philadelphia Eagles history? And one that keeps popping up, what if Howie Roseman got fired when Chip Kelly got hired? Or was never given his job back after Chip Kelly lost it? Like, the Howie Roseman revisionist theory, like, I was ready to run Howie Roseman out of the city for so long. I thought we needed somebody that was better than accountant, that pushed and counted the numbers and figured out the things there. Like, I was wrong on Howie Roseman. And I have zero qualms admitting that. And now I'm the biggest supporter of the guy. Man, Chatter, your opinion matters the most, but that does no good if you're not on. You got to be on. You got to like this video. We got 6 likes right off the bat here on YouTube. Still just 1 on Facebook. Make sure you smash that like button. Everybody tuning in. Or what if with Russell Wilson? That is actually, Peanut, you're sidetracking me. I don't want to get into the what if part, but that's part of my, Tyrese Maxey, Dame Lillard comparison. Like, everybody's ready to move on from Tyrese Maxey for Dame Lillard. But everybody was ready to move on from Jalen Hurts last year for Russell Wilson. And we see how that worked out. I'm not saying Tyrese Maxey is the next Jalen Hurts. What I'm saying is Dame Lillard could be the next Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson looked cooked. We dodged such a major bullet not making that move. And I really do believe, Peanut, that Howie Roseman was making that move. Howie Roseman was going to make that move. But the rumors are out there that Russell Wilson didn't want to come to Philly. I bet you he's regretting that now. I bet you now, looking at this team, knowing now that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are his wide receivers, I bet you Russell Wilson would love to come to Philly, especially after that offseason or that season that he had in Denver last year. Like, what if? What if that happened? What if the amazing Nick Foles? We're just getting right into tomorrow's topic, the what ifs. What if Nick Foles wasn't the backup? I'm trying to save the what ifs for tomorrow. I want to talk about this offseason. And the Russell Wilson thing that Peanut brings up here on Facebook, it makes me think that, like, Howie Roseman just hasn't run a masterclass offseason this year. It's been 2 or 3 straight dominant offseasons for Howie Roseman as the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, as the president, whatever his title is. I don't even think he's the general manager of the team. Isn't he the president of operation? He makes all the decisions, basically. He has just gone year in and year out now for several years. He knows when to hold them, when to fold them, i.e. the players. He knows how to look for the immediate time now, how to keep great players like James Bradbury. I think, this poll, Carter and Hurts, those 2 things are the thing that's winning. But I only had one person comment in the comment section of the other that the re-signing of James Bradbury was one of the most important parts of this all season for Howie Roseman. What about Bradbury? What about being able to restructure? I don't even know what you call what happened with Darius Slay. He kind of sort of cut him, but brought him back. Like, I don't even know how to classify that. But keeping Bradbury and Slay, letting the ego. Look, this team has had success now for 2 years because of Jalen Hurts, because of Nick Sirianni, but because of no drama. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, CGJG, whatever you want to call him. Drama. Always drama. Obviously, the Saints saw that. That's why they let him go for so little. We won that trade. We got Johnson and CJ and where's Liam? Why does everybody want to know where Liam is? Who cares about Liam? Phil's here. We're worried about Phil. Liam don't care about your opinions. I do. Eric. Oh, we love Liam. But Liam's probably sleeping. He wakes up. Whatever. Forget about Liam. Worry about this show right here going on. And if you want Liam on the show, tell him to wake up and come on the show. the letting the go of the ego of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, standing firm, knowing the fan base was going to freak out when he wasn't part of this team anymore. And having a standing firm, this is what we're going to offer you, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That is a very big positive from this offseason of Howie Roseman. And then being able to use that money to retain one of the best cornerback duos in James Bradbury and Darius Slay. Huge. Doesn't get the credit in that situation that he deserves. Yeah, nobody's seen him in a while. Come on. I think the last time he did a show was the draft day. Draft day, I think, or for the NFL draft when we did the live stream here on Philadelphia Sports Network. That's the last time most people were live. But you don't got to worry about that with me. I'm here every day. I'm putting my face out in the open for everybody every day. But anyway, so it wasn't just one or two moves that Howie Roseman made. He kept the veterans that he needed. Bradbury, Slay. Drafting these veterans. I mean, this team is very veteran laden. You've got Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Bradbury, Slay, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. But you've also got the future all over this team. Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You've got Sidney Brown, Kellen Ringo. You go out and you get Tyler Steen. A few years ago, Devontae Smith. The Howie Roseman Masterclass takes into account now and the future and keeps some of the past that is still performing at a strong level, like a Kelsey or Fletcher. Like, keeping Fletcher Cox, you can argue with it however you want. He was able to get him restructured or cut and re-signed on a really cheap deal. Not cheap, but cheap by his standards deal. He didn't lock us in to super long-term deals with any of the older aging players. The Howie Roseman Masterclass is not just two moves this offseason. It's not just Jalen Carter. It's not just Jalen Hurts extension. And to get to the Jalen Hurts extension, and this is something that I don't think Howie Roseman gets enough credit for. Not just the extension, not just the contract negotiation. We've seen this now multiple times with Howie Roseman. He did it with Jordan Mailata. He did it with Josh Sweat. He did it with Dallas Goedert. He did it with Avonte Maddox. Beating the league to the punch. Getting these contracts made just a few bucks cheaper before the market is set. You look at Phil Stiefel's a warrior. I'm no warrior. It's not just the best morning show. It's the first live YouTube show in Philadelphia. There's a lot of others out there now, but guess what? I was the first. I'm not broadcasting our fantasy football. I haven't even decided. You got to convince me to be back in the draft this year. Cheater. Yo, everybody watching. Moyo Rivera. Peanut, as I know. Everybody knows him, Peanut. From the Birds, Beer, and BS podcast on YouTube. Just Google search Birds, Beer, BS. It'll pop up. I was live streaming a draft with him and his crew. And he was watching the live draft, making decisions based off of what I was talking about. And I still made the championship game. He just crushed me in the finals. And he's got the championship belt. That's my belt. That's my title. I don't know if I'm going to come back this year. I have to think about it. See if I should grace you guys with my presence again. I'll have to think about it. I'm not sure. But on the Jalen Hurts contract, with all these names I've said, Mailata, Sweat, Maddox, Goddard, getting these contracts done before the market is set. Jalen Hurts signed his contract. He was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, highest paid player in the NFL for what? 3 minutes? Then Lamar Jackson set? Like if Howie Roseman waits to make that contract or deal and lets Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow, who still hasn't signed his, or Justin Herbert, who hasn't had his extension yet, if he waits till they set the bar, then Jalen Hurts is going to want every quarterback, every top-tier quarterback, not elite. Jalen Hurts is elite at this point. We have to see how he follows up last year. But being able to get his contract done first saves this team big picture. if Lamar Jackson signs his contract first, well, Jalen Hurts was going to have to beat that contract. Howie Roseman was going to have to beat that contract. So let's get Jalen Hurts what he wants now, set the standard now, and also it means that everybody else has got to make more than that. That is something that Howie Roseman has done time in and time again with a lot of players. It's not just Jalen Hurts. The fact that he sees these guys are going for big paydays eventually. Let's get them locked up now. Let's beat them to the punch. Let's give them an offer now that is helpful for the team and the organization, but gives these young players the security that they need financially, but also gives us the flexibility that we're not breaking the bank to keep these players. Dude, I am so far from mid. What's above mid? I don't know. But then times it by 10, and that's what I am. Being the GM GOAT, had to send players out to get a nice tasty piece of humble pie. I don't even know what you're talking about there. I don't even know what that means. I mean, you look at the rest of Philadelphia right now. You look at what is going on with Daryl Morey and the Sixers. The Phillies are, teetering. I'm still not sure as we start the second half with the Phillies where they're going because of Dave Dombrowski, and I'm not sure what Dave Dombrowski's plan is. But there is no doubting what Howie Roseman's plan is. Howie Roseman, like I said, what's the old WWE slogan? Past, present, future, or something else. I don't know how it goes. But Howie Roseman always has his finger on the pulse of now. The fan base. Like the Daryl Morey, Paul Reed thing, the Sixers Twitter, where we listened to you and gave you what you wanted. That wasn't having a pulse of the fan base. Howie Roseman can read the fans, what they want, but also knows when to say, I don't care what the fans want. I'm thinking of winning a title this year. But I'm also thinking of winning a title for the next 5 years. What's good is that Howie Roseman is a master. He can teach, like when Howie Roseman decides to retire, I just see you see these guys online, these videos. Come to my class. I'll teach you how to be the greatest GM in 10 easy classes, just 5 easy payments and $99.95. Like I see him being like a success coach. I got my buddy Dr. Ron, the success coach. I see Howie Roseman being that. Just teaching people how to be successful. Being as I wouldn't know who the Buffalo Bills GM is. No. And I don't know, but I'm going to say no. When did Buffalo last play in the Super Bowl there, Chatter? That's all I'm going to say. Howie Roseman's led 2 different teams to the Super Bowl in the last 6 years. And he's done it rebuilding 2 train wrecks. First, he rebuilds the Chip Kelly train wreck, gets us to win our first Super Bowl. Then that falls apart pretty quickly. Gets rid of the first coach to win us a Super Bowl 5 years later, brings in Nick Sirianni, boom, right back in the Super Bowl last year. So, no offense to whoever Brandon Beane is, but I'm going to rank Howie Roseman ahead of Brandon Beane because at least we've seen Howie Roseman bring us to the promised land twice. I don't know. I've never thought of ranking the NFL GMs. And without thinking too deeply into it, and I'm just going to, no particular order. Obviously, Howie Roseman's up there, possibly 1, maybe 2. You would have to put Kansas City's GM, whoever. I couldn't even name one other GM in the league. You guys might say some of their names and I would recognize them, but you'd have to put Kansas City's GM up there. Obviously, they're in the Super Bowl every other year. They constantly rebuild. They don't even have many flashy stars. It's not like Patrick Mahomes has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. It's just Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and guys. So you'd have to put him up there for sure. Cincinnati's building a great organization right now. Whoever their GM is right now, you'd have to put it. I would put Lynch, 49ers GM. I do know that name, John Lynch. He builds a great culture out there in San Francisco. So you got to give them a little bit of credit. Shaq Lawson, Jordan Poyer, and many free agents that came back. Yeah, wasn't Jordan Poyer a Philadelphia Eagle at one point? That was one of the former Howie Roseman when he wasn't a Masterclass strategist. I think he let Jordan Poyer go. I think he drafted him, didn't see any talent in him, and said, nah, you can go. So I don't know how to rank the GMs exactly. I wouldn't even know the exact criteria to rank GMs, but it would have to be keeping an eye on the now and the future, which Kansas City and Philadelphia seem to be the two teams that are best set up to have a run this year, but also for the next 3 to 5 years. Just think about whoever the Kansas City GM is. Just think about it. What did Patrick Mahomes sign? Like a 10-year, $500 million contract? That was like 3-4 years ago. That deal looks like a steal. Steal. What's that say? Nail QB. Yeah. I mean, step one is nailing the QB. It does help to draft a great quarterback. It really does. I'm not saying Hargraves was a bad player, but if you look at the stats, he was great against the pass, but poor against the run. Oh, I agree with you on that. I believe Jalen Carter will help us forget all about him. So will Milton Williams. Dude, I got into it, John. Let me finish reading your comment here. I believe Jalen Carter will help us forget about him. Signing Hurts was epic, hard working, and will bring us our second Super Bowl. Would be number one. Absolutely. You know what's Jalen Carter will help us forget. I got into it with somebody yesterday on Twitter. You guys all know the fam, as we call it here on Trending in the AM, that's here every day, knows what I think of Milton Williams. But let me tell you something. There's somebody out there on Twitter that is not a Milton Williams fan. Not at all. And someone told me I was nuts for thinking that Milton Williams was going to be any better than he was last year. Somebody was out there telling me that Milton Williams is a bum, a bust, terrible. I think he was just trying to get under my skin. I think his name was Sean. I don't even know. But man, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, what a defense. I'm not worried about and that's what's so special, John, about Howie Roseman. You could have easily seen Howie Roseman. Well, he helped us get to the Super Bowl. He was a key piece. Let's overpay him because he's the best defensive tackle in the game, or one of the best in the game, one of the best last year. Let me rephrase it. He was one of the best defensive tackles last year. But he's getting up there in age. He's, was due a big contract. And Howie Roseman had the confidence, first off, in Milton Williams and Jordan Davis. And there's some guys that were on injured reserves, Tupaloa, some other guys that are going to be challenging for a roster spot. And he knew he had the draft this year. He had plenty of first-round draft capital and top draft capital to replace Milton Williams or Javon Hargrave. Howie Roseman isn't concerned. He knows when to keep the vets. He knew he had to keep Bradbury or Slay. He was able to keep both. And he knew when to let somebody like Hargrave and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson go. Milton Williams is a stud, 100%. And this is so Brett Veach is the GM. So Man Chatter's saying, 1, nail your quarterback. 2, build the best offensive line. 3, go get weapons. That's what makes you a good GM. Well, guess what? You just nailed. He went out, got Jalen Hurts. 2, built the best offensive line in football. And 3, go get A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, come on now. I think you just described who Howie Roseman was, Man Chatter. What is up, Eric? How we doing? We're talking about the Masterclass offseason of the Philadelphia Eagles, how he has set the standard. And we all bitch and moan about Daryl Morey and what he's done or not done so far this offseason for the Sixers. Well, man, it's hard to watch what Daryl Morey's doing when across the street at the NovaCare complex, Howie Roseman, or across the parking lot, Howie Roseman is just dropping dimes everywhere. This thing perfect. This move perfect. I mean, is there anything that we could say that he's done wrong this offseason? I don't think so. He gets the best possible contract for Jalen Hurts, gets it done before. I mean, you look at what's going on in New York with the New York Giants. Just think about the New York Giants for a second. What do we got here? Lost Super Bowl, Hurts lost, Foles won. Well, the Bills have never won a Super Bowl. So you did concede that he's the best Howie Roseman right now. Okay. I thought you were saying Buffalo was one. And Bean was one, and we were two. So, but, where you get the Jalen Hurts contract done. But then in New York, you got this Saquon Barkley. Somebody on the show the other day said Saquon Barkley had already signed. I knew he hadn't signed his franchise tender, but somebody was in the comments saying he had. So I was a little confused by that. But You go and get the Jalen Hurts contract done before it's a problem. You look in New York with the Giants, you give Danny Dimes, $160 million, and now can't come to grips with what to do with Saquon Barkley. Barkley wants a deal. He don't want to be the franchise tagged player. I was watching SportsCenter last night. They were saying there's a chance that Saquon Barkley holds out this year. He won't be there week 1. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. Let me preface that. But Daniel Jones is a better quarterback when Saquon Barkley's back there in the backfield. Most quarterbacks would be better, even at this point of Saquon's career. Everybody's going to be better when you've got a Saquon Barkley back there. So Howie Roseman has learned from his past mistake. That's the thing that people don't talk about, that learning from his mistake. Howie has Daryl Morey looking like Patrick Starr. Daryl Morey, Howie's got Daryl Morey out there trolling people on social media. Daryl Morey's out there, giving the people what they want in Paul Reed. But giving the team not what they need. Like, that's the thing with Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman knows what the fans want, but he's not afraid to go against them. Fans have emotion. We have emotion attached to these players. But Howie Roseman knows sometimes you got to keep the emotion out of it. Psycho out running backs, for sure. But see, the thing is, when you back yourself in the corner like the Giants have, you either got nobody or you got Saquon. And Saquon don't want to play. I think I heard that the running back franchise tag's like $10 million. I think he wants like a 4-year, $30 million deal or something like that. There's got to be a common ground in the middle somewhere. But yet the Giants are leaving themselves in a really tough spot right now. Phil, I'm going to admit, like you, pre-Chip Kelly, Howie sucked. He's been – see, the thing with Howie is – and John, this is kind of making – I'm going to kind of relate Howie Roseman to me. I am not afraid to admit when I was wrong. I was wrong on Howie Roseman. But see, the thing is, Howie Roseman knows he was wrong. Howie Roseman knows the way he used to do things. Is it the way? Howie Roseman was here during the Andy Reid era. How many Super Bowls did he win then? None. Was he the GM in 2004? Or was he still the assistant to Joe Banner? I forget. Right around that time. But Howie Roseman learned from his mistakes. He's like, what didn't work? Drafting guys from small schools, Colorado, Tennessee. And what does he do? He goes out there and he's getting every single Alabama and Georgia player he could fit on the roster. Guys that have played, and I've been saying this since I can remember, since I was a wee lad. You go out and get the best guys from the best teams. That's what you do. You don't try to outthink yourself. Howie Roseman used to always try to outthink himself. We don't do that anymore. Why? How? He just goes and grabs the best players at all times. And that's the thing with Howie. And that's why I have so much respect for Howie. Because Howie Roseman is willing to admit his mistakes. Howie Roseman's willing to say, Miles Sanders, you helped us get to the Super Bowl? Sorry, dude. Got to go. Can't pay you that money. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. This is what we could pay you. But you don't want it? Go see what else is out there. You went out and saw that there's nothing else out there? Sorry, I already spent your money. I can't do anything about it. Now you see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in Detroit on a 1-year, $8 million deal, whatever it means. Usually there's a reason why they're at the smaller schools. Absolutely. And yes, we are the Georgia Eagles. But we got a lot of Alabama players on this team too. Landon Dickerson, best left guard in football, was the center for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Saquon Barkley. I just don't, everybody's hyping up the Giants. Everybody's saying that maybe we're undervaluing Daniel Jones and this team. And look, I'm a Brian Daboll fan. I know, Chatter, you know him from his time in Buffalo. I was a fan of him. I wanted him to be the Eagles head coach before Nick Sirianni was hired. That offseason, he was my top choice. I'm like, if he could do that with Josh Allen and get Josh Allen to where he was, maybe he could do that with whoever the quarterback of the Eagles is, Jalen Hurts or whoever else. I like Brian Daboll. but you got still a team. You don't have Gettleman running the Giants anymore, making those boneheaded decisions, but they're still playing chase. And that's the other thing here. When we compare Daryl Morey and Howie Roseman, we can compare the Giants and the Eagles. Is your GM proactive or reactionary? Daryl Morey is reactionary. He's waiting to see what everybody else does and what everybody else wants to do instead of being proactive and thinking 3 steps down the line. The Giants are being reactionary, with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley reacting to everybody else. Howie Roseman's thinking now, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. He's being proactive, signing contracts for players like Jalen Hurts, Avonte Maddox, Josh Sweat, Jordan Mailata, etc., before they reach their free agent and their peak, so that you get them at a slightly better deal. Yeah, there's risk in that. For Phillies fans, Scott Kingery is the obvious risk there. You give a guy a contract too soon, they don't stay at the heights. But then that's where his contract negotiating. The Jalen Hurts contract. It's a big deal. But I'm pretty sure there's an out clause after like 3 years or 4 years. So that if Jalen Hurts isn't the guy, if last year was an aberration, which it probably wasn't, Jalen Hurts is the real deal. I firmly believe in it. I've believed that since his freshman year at Alabama, that Jalen Hurts is the real deal. But if he's not, guess what? Howie Roseman's thinking 4 years down the line, I can get out of this thing. Hell, he got out of the Carson Wentz deal. We did have 1 year where we had to pay like $6 billion in dead cap hit, but we still made the playoffs that year. Can you imagine how great of a 2021 season was? I don't think people realize how great 2021 was. I know we got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs by the Bucs, by Tom Brady. But Jalen Hurts was his first full year starting, and we were paying a quarterback $60 million of our cap space, $50 or $60 million, something like that, of our cap space to a quarterback that wasn't on our team. He built a roster that was playoff capable, paying what was the cap that year? Probably like $200 million. He literally had like 40% of our cap wrapped up in a quarterback playing somewhere else. Tell me that's not masterclass. I don't think that gets enough credit. As I say, you run for 1,000 yards every game and lose 16 seconds. It's all about quarterback. It's all about the quarterback. And we've got our quarterback here. And it all centers around Jalen Hurts. And if Howie Roseman convinces Russell Wilson to come to Philadelphia, we're talking totally different here. This whole thing has centered around, like, Howie Roseman's success is directly linked with this Jalen Hurts success. Jalen Hurts' success is directly linked to Howie Roseman's success. The offensive line success, it's all linked. To have a great franchise, to have a great organization top to bottom, everything has to be linked. Howie Roseman's got to have the confidence from Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie's got to have confidence in Nick Sirianni. Jeffrey Lurie's got to have confidence in the money he's given to Jalen Hurts. It is all linked in so many different ways. And I think that is a big part of it. Howie is the GOAT. If you look at what we're dealing with right now in all the other cities or all the other franchises in this city, of course. You compare what Howie Roseman is doing this offseason, take everything the previous offseasons away, take everything he's done setting us up for the future, just the team he is building for 2023 versus Daryl Morey, Dave Dombrowski. Ryan, thanks for checking in, man. I cannot believe how far Howie Roseman has come. Daniel Jones and Lamar Jackson were dumb contracts. Well, Daniel Jones was a dumb contract, but the Lamar Jackson contract could be really dumb. I'm teetering on Lamar Jackson, what his ceiling is as a quarterback. He was an MVP in the league, and he just hasn't stayed healthy, and he's got problems. And the Ravens don't build it. Who's Lamar Jackson's weapons? It's a running back by committee and Mark Andrews. He's never had a decent wide receiver to throw to. He's never had the greatest offensive line in front of him. The Lamar Jackson thing is, I'm teetering there. Well, to Morey's credit, he'd be more proactive if there wasn't a shortage of 35-plus-year-old Houston Rockets alums. Well, that's where Morey's problem. Daryl Morey's just thinking of one thing. He's so blinded. His eyes are, he's got the James Harden blinders on. He's still living in the past. He can't believe he never won with Houston, so he keeps trying to recreate it. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Well, it didn't work for Howie Roseman in the past. So what does Howie Roseman do? He does something different. Daryl Morey, instead of trying something different, keeps trying to do the same thing over and over again. And I think that's a big part of it right there. I would need Hurts contract details. Has Burrows shown you enough? Well, Burrows is going to get the bigger contract. He is. He absolutely is. And I don't have the contract up in front of me. That was like a 6-year deal. I think it was like $48 million a year for Hurts. He's got a full no trade clause, I believe. There's a lot going on in that contract, but there are outs to it. Howie learned from Joe Banner about the financial side of the game, but the light bulb went on. Yeah, sometime while he was sitting in the equipment room, he was the equipment manager or whatever he was titled. He is the most in all of sports. I mean, is there better? Maybe Danny Ainge. I don't know. Maybe borderline in basketball, one of the best there. He's always doing something. Well, he's only doing things to screw the Sixers, Danny Ainge. I'm trying to think. In baseball, I mean, nobody jumps out of the page of having. And look, this is these conversations about Howie the greatest of all sports and whatnot. I mean, it's front and center for us Eagles fans, for us Philadelphia sports fans. It is hard for us to, take the blinders off on Howie Roseman for sure. And there are flaws to his game. It hasn't caught up to him. The kicking the can down the top, kicking the tire down the road, or whatever, however you phrase it, where he's constantly extending people and pushing money down. But again, that goes back to 2021, where we had so much dead cap money from that. Just Carson Wentz, but we had other dead cap money that year too. And the fact that he's able to push all that money down and still build winners, what he does is insane. I'm pretty sure he's won one playoff game. I'd rather give Lamar a 2-year contract higher than contract now. I don't know. It's tough. Drake Krause, Bulls. Back then, possibly, yes. It's tough to admit, but I think we have to give some credit to Chip Kelly. Oh, for sure. And Ryan, tomorrow's topic, I did a thread on Twitter. You can check it out on my Twitter page of what ifs. And there are some what ifs in the Chip Kelly situation. His time here set the scene for Howie to rise up. His awful moves, but he made some good moves, actually. Plus, he also convinced Stoutland. That's the one right there. What if Chip Kelly doesn't bring Jeff Stoutland in here? We all dislike Chip. I was actually really curious when the Chip Kelly thing happened. I really wanted it to work. I remember I wasn't in social media. I wasn't a podcaster on Twitter or anything. But I remember Chip Kelly's first few preseason games. I had a notebook. I was writing down timing seconds in between plays. It was insane. State of the art. But the league caught up to it pretty quick. And his ego got in the way. But the Stoutland part of it, would Jordan Mailata, would Lane Johnson be as good as he is without Stoutland? Wasn't Chip Kelly here when Lane Johnson was drafted? So, Chip Kelly did have some good. But his ego was uncontrollable and got in the way of him. Him thinking he could take anybody, taking Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray and turn them into whatever he wanted to turn them into. Jalen Hurts is top 5 in the NFL when it comes to total yards to total turnover differential. It's Mahomes, Rodgers, Watson, Herbert, Hurts, Burrow. Yeah, he's that dude. You can find a stat observer, puts him in the top 5 in a lot of categories. But I am going to tell you, I'm taking Jalen Hurts. Oh, at this moment, from what I saw last 2 years, I'm not even saying from what I saw in college, but I was a big follower and supporter of Jalen Hurts in college at Alabama. I would take Jalen Hurts over every quarterback in this league right now outside of Patrick Mahomes, and it'd be a close tie with Joe Burrow. I would not take Aaron Rodgers over Jalen Hurts. I would not take Deshaun Watson. Even if you take Deshaun Watson's personal issues aside, I would still take Jalen Hurts over him. Justin Herbert, I would take Jalen Hurts over 100 times over. Jalen Hurts has so much more than just the stats. He's got the intangibles, the will to win. And that's why that contract set the stage. Was the Jalen Hurts contract extension outside the draft? Wasn't it like one of the first things that Howie Roseman accomplished this offseason? Like, it literally set the tone for the rest of the offseason. Let's reset for a second. We're 40 minutes into about an hour and 20-minute show today. Make sure you hit the like button on YouTube. We got 10 likes on YouTube. We got 3 on Facebook. Likes. They equal help the algorithm. Share it out. Do whatever you can, guys. I do want to take a quick pause for a second here. For those local to Philadelphia, I will be on the sports scene, PHL 17, tonight with Jason Lee on his show on there. It's called Sports Scene. Great. I'll be talking Eagles, Phillies, whatever he wants to talk about. I'll be on TV tonight. Make sure you check it out. PHL 17 Sports Scene, 9:30 p.m. tonight. Look forward to seeing everybody. I'll check it out and coming on here tomorrow and telling me how bad I looked on TV. Take what hurts. Yeah, even taking the off the field stuff. So I just want to shout that out. But back to the comments here. I take the Hurts over Watson now all day. And again, it's taking the personal stuff out of the equation too. Like, it really is. Like, forget about the fact that he's just a terrible human being, possibly. I say possibly because I'm not getting into it. But, you know, he's a better quarterback than him. He's a better leader than him. Cleveland's going to regret that if they aren't already. When Chip got rid of Djax and Shady. Yeah. And see, the thing is, I'm always the kind of guy that tries to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt. I do. And I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, all right, you're going to get rid of Djax and Shady. Why? Let's see what you do. But you get rid of Shady for what? Kiko Alonso? Dude, that was awful. Who'd even get rid? I mean, he cut Djax, who was our top wide receiver after that. I mean, it was bad. Chip Kelly's ego really, really screwed this organization up. But it also set the stage for Howie Roseman to take over. And while Howie Roseman was in the back closet room, he was kind of just waiting, plotting, studying, learning, figuring out what he did wrong and how he could fix it. And he did. Yeah, man, Chatter, you know the legend of Kiko because we got him from you guys. The guy was a bum. CBS says Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. I disagree. And I don't care what CBS or Fox or Chris Sims or Dan Silly-O says. Look, it's Mahomes tier 1. And then it's Allen Burrow Hurts tier 2. There's no quarterback on the level of Patrick Mahomes. On a side note, can we talk about Patrick Mahomes for 1 minute here, guys? I was watching the ESPYs last night. I do watch the ESPYs. It's not a great award ceremony anymore. But the point of the ESPYs is about raising awareness and money and attention for the V Foundation and cancer research. But what the hell is with Patrick Mahomes and these stars and these celebrities wearing sports coats with no shirts on and shoes with no socks on? Mahomes goes up there to get his Athlete of the Year award. He's got no shirt under that suit coat, that tux coat. You make $50 million a year. You can't afford a T-shirt even. Come on now. Does anybody else hate that the way style is trending right now? To use the word trending in the game, I hate it. Put a damn shirt on underneath your sports coat. I don't need to see that nicely waxed chest of yours, Mahomes. I don't. Maximize it. Oh, I'm going to maximize it. I got a nice trending in the AM shirt to wear on TV tonight, just so you know. Watson is a bum on and off the field. Yeah, that's another Howie Roseman dodging of a bullet because there were a lot of rumors that Howie wanted Deshaun. What were you trading? We dodged it. Allen has 193 touchdowns, 103 to 103 out of the top 10 quarterbacks efficiency-wise. Less turnovers, that's 9th. Yeah, I mean, stats, you can use the stats however you want. I use the eye test. I believe in the intangibles, the leadership, the off-the-field stuff. I believe in so much else than just what the stats say for a quarterback because I think quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. And you've got to be the absolute best leader on and off the field. You have to have so many intangibles. You got to have every player on your roster believing in you 110%. And I don't think there's many people better ever than what Jalen Hurts brings to the table in that sense. Cleveland will regret that contract and burn them for years to go. Hey, I think there's a chance that some in Cleveland already regret that contract, in my opinion. This will be his first full year, I think. So we'll see after this year. But, yeah, the ESPYs. Look, The SB stuff, the show itself, it's not great anymore. But the point of the SBs is why I try to tune in for at least a little bit to kind of, just to the Liam Hendricks conversation or speech last night. Overcoming stage 4 lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer to pitch in major leagues again. His speech, and you see as he's walking off the stage, and Berman's behind him. He's like, and Berman, you can see read his lips, like, wow, that was a fantastic speech, and it was. It moved me. Go back and rewatch that speech from Liam Hendricks last night on the ESPYs. And if you don't get emotional, then you don't have a heart. Go back and watch the Lauren and Drew Holiday speech. I think they got the Arthur. No, they got the Ali Award. I think it was the Ali Award or the Arthur Ashe. I forget which one they got. Dude, that couple does so much great for the world. That's what the ESPYs should be about. Not Patrick Mahomes not wearing a shirt. Not all these athletes wearing no socks. The Netflix. I haven't watched the Netflix thing yet, but I will at some point for sure. Burrow is way older than Hurts too. Is he? I couldn't even have. Yeah, I'm not even sure about that. I'll trust you on that, D'Angelo. I will. I'm old. When I was little, I would think whatever TV said was cool. It's cool possible. Look. What the ESPYs, it is what it is. Look, and we talk TV, and you got the news yesterday that the Jets are going to be on Hard Knocks. We'll get back to the Eagles in a second. We're talking ESPYs. We're talking TV here. I'm going to be on TV tonight. Do you even care that the Jets are on Hard Knocks? Do people still watch Hard Knocks? I haven't had HBO in a few years. I don't pay for HBO Max. I'm cheap in that sense. But do the Jets being on Hard Knocks with Aaron Rodgers, does that make you want to go out and add it? Does it make you want to go out and, stay up and watch and get? It doesn't for me. Because I'm so far over Aaron Rodgers that I'm hoping for the failure in New York. Like, I'm calling the New York Jets failure. I'm saying it's going to blow up. But I think there's some of that is me just being a little biased maybe. Because I'm just so over who he is. I am. I just can't take it anymore. I really can't. I would consider Hurts over Allen because Allen stinks in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, it's close. I think you could say Allen over Hurts or Hurts over Allen or Allen over Burrow or Burrow over Hurts. You could say those three in any ranking. Good morning, Judd. How you doing this morning? We got so much on the agenda. We're 48 minutes in. I barely talked basketball. I barely talked baseball. We're just basically talking about Howie Roseman's Masterclass offseason. I would not watch it for free, but Jets fans are high on copium. Look, the Hard Knocks thing, I haven't been into in a long time. Mad Chatter beats to his own drum. You know what I mean? He's got some different opinions. But yeah, the Hard Knocks thing, no. But if you want to watch some strong TV, go back and you can fast forward through the awards, through the acceptance speeches. You can fast forward through a lot of the ESPYs last night. Who was it that did the opening round? I don't even know who it was, but it seemed like a lot of people knew who he was. You can fast forward through all that. You can fast forward through Pat McAfee's cringeworthy opening monologue. It was cringeworthy at points, for sure. It's what you have when you have no writer. When the writers are on strike and you got nobody writing for you, you got to write your own material. And Pat McAfee, he's saying that material wasn't that great last night. But you go and you listen to the Liam Hendricks, speech last night about persevering through the diagnosis. And if he said, and there's one thing stood out. His doctor, I forget her name, where he went to get his cancer treatment. And he said that the doctor comes in and says, you've got stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but don't worry about it. We got this. Could you imagine? I mean, every doctor out there that's involved in this kind of stuff just needs to hear that and be like, and just have that kind of positivity, because positivity helps. We've all had somebody in our family affected by cancer. Maybe somebody watching the show is affected by it personally. That speech to me, I went to bed after that. I just thought long and hard about it because it was great. And I'm going to go rewatch it again and again. I'm not a fan of either Manning. I got a kick out of Presley dog walking Rodgers on bar stools. I don't even know what that means. Sorry, I must have missed that one. He's not Kevin Hart. Yeah, not at all. But the lack of a writers definitely played a part into that. John, Aaron Rodgers is going to get killed this year. Their line is not good. And Phil, I've never seen Aaron Diva Rodgers fan. Dude, I can't say I've never been an Aaron Rodgers fan. I get that he's a great quarterback. He throws the football around really well. For as great as Aaron Rodgers is considered, he's won one Super Bowl. You don't think with where he's put in the upper echelon that he'd been in 5 Super Bowls and won 2. He's not. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but I'm even more not a fan of what he's become as a person and how he handles his PR, if you want to call it that. Let's see here. Yeah, we're just passing over all the Eli Manning stuff here. I don't think you have to be a fan of either Manning to admit that Peyton was no. Like I must have missed where this whole Manning conversation came in. There's so many comments rolling in here, guys. I must have missed the Manning conversation because I'm trying to keep up with the conversation, everybody's thoughts. But man, look, Eli is not better than Peyton, obviously. Okay, we're trying to stay on the now, the Hurts and the Allen and the Howie Roseman. Let's keep the conversation to the point. We'll get off the ESPYs. We'll get off the bad drip, if that's what you want me to use that word. We're going to get off of that. We're going to get back to the Howie Roseman part of this conversation. All NFC quarterbacks. The Lions don't have – Jared Goff's not a good quarterback. Man, Chatter, get out of here. Mad Chatter's trying to fire up the chat. So much. He's going to change his name to the Eli Chatter tomorrow morning on this show. The Mad Chatter, is Eli Manning better in your mind than Peyton? No, he's not. He can't agree with that. Where's my fairway to heaven polo? Oh my God, I keep forgetting. I'm broke right now. You got people don't drop the $500 super check, Kyle. So I don't have that money. The polos are expensive, my man. Success by me is Super Bowl championships. The league helped Peyton. He could not throw. Oh man. Let's get off the Eli Manning conversation, guys. We know Peyton Manning is better than Eli. We know that. And Archie Manning, is that the other brother, is ripped beyond belief. Do I think that Howie – see, this is a great question, John. Let's get this conversation back on track, everybody, to Howie Roseman, his Masterclass offseason. Let's get it back. And Howie Roseman has already, in my opinion, had an A-plus offseason. We are poised, as the roster stands, to make another run to the Super Bowl. We should be the favorites to make the Super Bowl. We are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and Howie Roseman is not done, John. I firmly believe what the roster looks like today will not be what the roster looks like on August 20th or August 30th. There will be more moves, whether it's a safety, whether it's a linebacker, another wide receiver, another tight end, whatever it may be. Now it seems like DeAndre Hopkins, which I'm not saying I want him, maybe he's going to Tennessee. He is not done. He is, as Ryan is saying down here, he is never done. What do we think of Bryce Young and Jordan Love? I am curious about Jordan Love. If that's the answer, observer, I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for. We all saw Aaron Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre for 4 years or whatever. Jordan Love's been sitting for so long. He didn't have as much hype, I don't think, as Aaron Rodgers did coming out of college. If my mind got turned the back memory wheels. But Bryce Young is set up for failure because he's, when you get drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft as a quarterback, you're going to a team that needs a quarterback. You're going to a team that's got very few weapons around you. You're going to an organization that's not good normally. Bryce Young's going to be thrown out there week 1. Is he ready? And how Bryce Young handles the early career adversity will determine whether, does he have the talent? Sure, he has some talent that he could become a really good quarterback. But not everybody has the mental aspect to handle the early failures. Jordan Love's been sitting and learning about handling failures and handling the mental aspect. He's had time to adjust to the NFL. I think Jordan Love probably has a better statistical season this year. Bryce Young's got more hype and future, but I would probably rather have neither on my team as my starting quarterback, for sure. Call Bryce young goat. I don't know. He's got some talent, but we'll see. Last year's offseason was better, but I think he got something else. Okay, William, this is an interesting comment. Why? I need to know. Add to the comments. I'm backed up on comments. I'm going to get back if you get it in there. I think I've got 3 more. William, I need to know in the comments section why you think last offseason was better than this offseason. because this offseason, Jalen Carter, last offseason, Jordan Davis. Last offseason was A.J. Brown, which was great. Did he make an A.J. Brown move? Probably not. He was able to bring in some really great draft pieces. But I would put that Jalen Hurts contract extension and the timing of it and the way it was structured probably pushes this offseason slightly ahead because you were able to lock up your quarterback long term at a very fair, reasonable price. But give me your answer. Give me your answer on why you think it was better. Howie Judd says, not finished, more tweaks coming. Yes. I firmly believe more tweaks are coming. I doubt, as Reese said up here, Howie is never done. He's not. Oh my God, we're still on the Howie the Eli Manning stuff. Gotta get off of it, guys. Get off of it. We don't need to. We're 55 minutes in. One more time. We got a lot of people watching. Make sure you hit that like button on YouTube. We got 12 likes. We got 5 likes on Facebook. Likes help the algorithm, bring more people into the conversation. As I always say, if you're new to the show, I see some new names in the comments. This is the only show where your opinions actually matter. Unless your opinion is Eli Manning is better than Peyton Manning, then your opinion doesn't mean anything. Hurts, Young, Goff. There's nobody in the NFC, nobody in that tier 1, tier 2, hell, tier 3 level. There are no good quarterbacks in the NFC. You got to put Dak Prescott probably as the second best quarterback in the NFC. It pains me to say it, but it's probably it. Probably. I'm trying to think. Is there a better quarterback in the NFC than Dak Prescott outside of the Jalen Hurts conversation? I don't think there is. But anyway, Howie Roseman isn't done. It's been a master class. It really has. And I want to. We got a lot of people watching. We got about 15, 20 minutes left in the show today. I want to throw one other conversation point at least. I was going to bring up the Major League Baseball rule changes that people want. I was going to bring up the NBA rule changes are official, but I got one other analogy I want to bring up. Sixers related. Dak top 5. Look, he's better than Jared Goff. He's better than Bryce Young at this point. So there's nobody else much better than him, honestly, at this point. I don't know about that. We added Swift and knocked the draft out of the draft this year was probably better than last year, but the free agent signings was better last year because of A.J. Brown than this year. But that Jalen Hurts contract is probably the kicker for me. John, I'll get to you in a second. I want to see what Williams said. Last offseason was a lot like 17 where they had filled in every hole they had and rolled out a complete team. Yeah, okay. All right, I get that. Last year's offseason was more about completing last year's team. This offseason was more about the next 3 to 5 years. So I think there's a little bit of a conversation point there. Phil, lifelong Philly guy. I'm retired in Alabama. I believe Howie will do what it takes to get us back to the Super Bowl and get it done. Yeah, I remember. Do you remember the look on Jalen Hurts' face? Well, you guys don't remember the look on my face, but my face wasn't good. I would say that the defeat in that Super Bowl this past year hit me harder than when they lost the TO year with Donovan McNabb in the Super Bowl. Last year hit harder, hurt harder. So I've every confidence in the world, that as long as, the only thing is the side thing, John, law of averages, everything went right last year. Something's bound to go wrong. But this team is set up to handle adversity. Hope I was scared of Eli. Eli was the only one scared of Eli. Guys, let's have fun. Let's get off of Eli. We're not talking to Eli. All right, I'm going to try to change the conversation. I'm going to give you an analogy I saw yesterday. Sure, but we don't know how the draft will actually look. That's fair. You never know. We can be hyped about the draft, but we don't know. It looks great now, but in 5 years, it might look mediocre. He has done a better job in the draft over the last couple of years, William, though. He has. His moves have worked out more times in the last couple of years than his pre-Chip Kelly era. So, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Eagles never spend money on linebacker, yet we developed Jordan Hicks. That linebacker we let go last season. Look, I it's an unpopular opinion. I was okay letting T.J. Edwards and Kazir White go. And everybody's expecting us to do, we're not going to, we might have got, some people are really high on Sidney Brown, Observer. There are. A lot of people very confident in Sidney Brown. And the Nakobe Dean, I'm telling you, Nakobe Dean better have 150 tackles this year. If he doesn't, we're going to suffer with the lack of linebackers on this team. I mean, who else? You got Ellis or Elias or whatever his name is. You got Taylor. You got Bradley. You got nobody else other than Nakobe Dean. That's why you might not see the Buda Baker name. You might not see the Buda Baker name type level safety come in here because you got Brown, you got Edmonds, you got Reed Blankenship, you still have Kayvon Wallace. You've got options at safety. You've got Nakobe Dean and nothing else at linebacker. Now, they're not going to go out and trade for an all-pro great linebacker, but they're probably going to bring in some veteran depth at linebacker. Ryan, I agree with this so much. We got extremely lucky with injuries last year. This year, we do have depth, but there are positions that we don't. Like, honestly, if something happened to AJ, knock on wood, something happens to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, then you got Quez Watkins starting. That's not good. So we don't have depth there. Dallas Goedert missed 5 games last year. Can we really go with another 5 games with Jack Stahl and Dan Arnold? Like, no. So there are spots that we do lack that depth. Nakobe Dean is great, Ryan. But what if he isn't? I mean, Nakobe Dean's thing coming out of college, maybe the reason why he dropped, he was a first-round talent, but he had injury history and injury question marks. Maybe that's it. You know, if something happens to Dean or if he gets hurt or he's not the real deal, we're screwed at linebacker. Jack Stoll does suck. I get crushed because I say Jack Stoll and Dan Arnold suck, and we need a tight end too. Availability is everything in sports. And Morrow was the name. Sorry. You think he's got more tackles than Dean? That's interesting. Morrow was the name. I forgot his name there. Thank you, William. Look, but still, Morrow and Dean. I wasn't high on Edwards and Kazir White. But Kazir White and Edwards, Morrow and Dean, big difference. Question marks, big difference there between the two. That's why I still see another linebacker. Howie will wait till camp starts. Howie will see who gets cut, who becomes available on the trade market. There will be another linebacker added to this core. I would bet the house that there is another linebacker added to this core. Luckily, I don't own my house, so I can't bet it anyway. I want to get this little thing out. We got more coming. How do I feel about the other wide receiver on the roster? Quez Watkins. Why'd you put Quez with AJ and Devontae? I'm going to put Quez with OZ and Britton Covey because I think there's a lot of question marks about the other 3. Quez Watkins, I think we crush him because of his mistakes, but he's still talented. OZ was actually one of the fastest guys in the NFL. He's really good, but he was let go for nothing, basically. You know, he's signed to a cheap deal. I think we've got a severe lack of wide receivers on the team. We're super top heavy at wide receiver. So you can't go out and spend big money on a third wide receiver. But we are super top heavy. And that's not good. One of them goes down. Then Jalen Hurts has to do more. So that's a question. Howie needs to add Miles Jack at linebacker and Ngakoue at defensive end. If we're just talking these 2 names, Ryan Reese, I would take Jack over Ngakoue. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I'm terrible. You guys know that with pronouncing names because I think our linebacker core is a lot weaker than our defensive end core. I think we've got a lot of talent at the defensive end, edge rushing, getting after the quarterback position. I think adding him at defensive end would just be adding a surplus at this point. It also would mean getting rid of Derek Barnett, which I know you all want to get rid of Derek Barnett, but he's on a $1 million or $1.1 million contract. I think he could give you 3 to 5 sacks this year. I'm not writing off Derek Barnett yet, but linebacker is the problem, in my opinion. Morrow had 100 tackles last year. A lot of linebackers had 100 tackles last year. Doesn't mean they're great linebackers. I can't say that I have confidence. Like, look, again, I didn't have like when you said what did TJ Edwards have last year? 159 tackles or whatever. And he only got he didn't get like a huge contract or anything like that. So I think tackles and linebackers, it's a hard number to judge whether it's important or not. Because it's like a lot of linebackers get a lot of tackles. And I like 2 or 3 years ago when I was doing my first podcast brand that I was with, I had done a stat and the top 5 linebackers and tackles, 4 of them were on losing teams. I don't know if that works the last 2 years, but that was the way it was 3 years ago. That was the year we brought in what was something Wilson at linebacker. That was part of my argument that was a bad move or not a good enough move. So I'm still concerned at linebacker, very much so. Yeah, it is a luxury. Didn't we try to get him like 3 years ago too? This year's Kazir White, yeah, and Kazir White had a good season. Maybe not as great as some people give him credit for, but he was good. The catching running back will cover up Watkins. That is for sure a fantastic point. We might not be deep at wide receiver, but we have more flexibility at running back and at tight end. Because Dan Arnold, I'm not a Dan Arnold fan. Grant Calcaterra, who knows? But we might be able to run more 12 personnel this year with that tight end crew. So maybe. So late damn work keeps getting in the way. Quit the damn job, Drew, and just get in here. Find a job that lets you come in here every single morning. The Debo situation. Look, I hate crybabies. I hate them. Don't like crybabies. It's tough though. Like we've all like Debo's crying. The 49ers are crying. But don't we all cry about different things too? We're crying about the wet field conditions in the Super Bowl. We cry about the Sixers situation all the time. Everybody, we cry about the fouls and the hard fouls or the lack of fouls against Joel Embiid. We complain about the refs in the NBA. It's kind of what fans and players do. So I mean, to me, the 49ers, I don't care about it. Like, I've moved on. They haven't moved on, but I get it. Because they got to use that to pump their fan base up, that this year's going to be different. We're not going to let that affect us. We're going to be better this year. They got lucky. We've used those things. We've used those analogies for our Philadelphia sports teams. The other team, what if this player didn't get hurt? We would have beat them. So the crybaby thing, I get it. It's annoying, but I get why it happens because we do it too. In my opinion, we do it too. Using them in the run game, Morrow to get the tackles before the running back breaks to the secondary. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, Debo walked out of the interview. Oh, yeah. He was asked again. I forgot about that one. Sorry, Tyrese. I forgot about that. I just caught that late last night. That I guess he was questioned again about it, and he walked out on it. But they're still crying, and that was still just another publicity thing. You walk out on an interview to make a statement, and look, now Debo's name's back in the news. All this stuff, it happens for reasons. It is exactly what it looks like and sounds like. Man, we're talking way too much today. I'm not even big cup of coffee. I'm only halfway down it. Look, we got 10 minutes left in the show today. I want to throw this out there. I saw this interesting analogy, guys, and I've teased it a few times. But I want to get it out there. And I got crushed for liking this one. The Tyrese Maxey, would you trade him for Dame Lillard? And should they? And if they do or don't? And it's compared to the Jalen Hurts you would have traded to bring in Russell Wilson. And I'm not saying Tyrese Maxey is Jalen Hurts. But what I'm saying is Dame Lillard like Russell Wilson? If we make that trade, would we regret it down the line? If we would have traded Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson, we might have regretted it. Is there anything to that analogy? Tyrese Maxey for Dame Lillard, Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson in hindsight. Yeah, we cried about Wentz when he got the concussion from Jadeveon. We would have won that game in Seattle if Carson Wentz was out there. That goes towards the what if conversation. Guys, I got this great what if thread going on my Twitter page right now at Bearded Knowledge. What ifs in Philadelphia Eagles history. What if this didn't happen or what if this did happen? It's fantastic. You just got to read it even if you don't want to comment on it. It might not even, I might not even be able to go through the whole thread in one show. There's so many comments on it. I've been having a blast with it. I cry about the biased media coverage that shit on us every day. Yeah. I try not to do that, actually. I try to move on. I try not to give the silly guy any attention. I try to give Simsy, any attention. I completely block the skippers of the world, the Baylesses, the skipper Payless of the world. I try not to give them the attention, but they do shit on us at every chance they get. And we cry about it. We cry about the negative attention. I saw somebody going off on the Philadelphia fan base. I and how, I cry all the time at how we have such a negative connotation towards us when we're actually not as bad as people think and better than other cities. No, Maxey Lillard don't want to come here. But the point is, like, it is, why would we trade a young maybe? Because I'm looking at last year, offseason, we would have traded Hurts for Wilson. Why would we trade the maybe for an aging veteran star that might be at the end of his career anyway? And that's why that came up, and I thought it was really interesting. Feel like people think Eagles are smoke and mirrors. Well, I want them to think we're smoke and mirrors. I mean, that's the art of deception. That's what makes your offense great. You think you're going over here, but you go over here. Or you think you're going here. It's too obvious, so they look at other things, and here we go. Finding ways. The Eagles literally had the best play in football, the tush push, that the league tried to ban this offseason because it was so damn effective. They view us as the Detroit Bad Boys. We're so far from the Detroit Bad Boys. They still have to pull. I saw someone again the other day bringing up snowballs at Santa. What was that? Nobody in this comments on this show was even born. The oldest guy here, probably. Well, Eric, me and you are borderline. We fight. You're 44. I'm 42. We weren't born for the snowballs at Santa. Yet that's all everybody wants to talk about. Like 40, 50, 60 years ago. But yet we're the bad boys. No, we're not. It was a bit different. Reddick was a clean hit while Clowney took a cheap shot. 1,000%. But we cry about it. To the question of, about people crying about things and Debo, we cry about things too. The game was a bit closer. It was. Everyone hated the tush push, except for I think the tush push is the greatest play. It really is. Oh, John, you had to throw that you're older. But even so, 64, that would be 20, 40. So you were born about the year of the snowball thing happening. Get over it, people. So much worse happens in so many cities. Hell, look at what happens in Spain and South America and places in soccer events. I mean, they literally burn stadiums to the ground. Yet we're the worst fans in the world. I hate it. I'm off to work. Hey, thank you very much, William, for tuning in. We're here every single day, every morning, Monday through Friday. Make sure you hit the like button, turn notifications on so you don't miss it. Tune in tonight, 8:30 or 9:30 p.m. Sports Scene, PHL 17. I'll be on TV tonight. I greatly appreciate the support. Opposing teams called the Eagles soft. They just ran down people's throats. Yeah. We just whooped everybody's ass last year. What's my prediction? We're winning the division for sure. Are we taking a step back? Are we going to win 14 games? Probably not. I don't do my official prediction till literally the week leading into the season because the team, Howie's not done. The Masterclass offseason is not done. But I find it hard to believe we'll win 14 games again. But we will win the division. We are the favorite to win the NFC, in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt. It just do the ball break the right way? Do the injuries stay clean? We are the best team in the NFC without a shadow of a doubt right now. We just might only win 12 or 13 games instead of 14 next year. But we'll get into the schedule prediction later. But this team, they're the only thing that can stop this team from not reaching the Super Bowl, Davon, is injuries. That's the only thing that can stop this team. This team can only stop itself. That's it. Tom Brady converted on 81% of his quarterback sneaks and had like 8. Yeah, of course. Nobody cared when Tom Brady did it. But Jalen Hurts, we got to hate on Philly. Yeah, I figured that's what you meant. Prediction for this season. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. It would not shock me at all. Eric, were you there in '99? I'm convinced you're my. They better be saying we booed Destiny's Child. That would be more accurate. Did we? I don't even know. I've been to New York many times, and their fans blow us away from. Yeah, absolutely. I've been to plenty of Phillies Mets games. For sure. Dude, I worked. So, for those that don't know, I worked on a cruise ship for a little while. And we got to wrap this show up in about 5-7 minutes here. I worked on a cruise ship for a little while. And traveled the world with people all over the place. And Every time I'd introduce myself on stage, I used to introduce myself, Phil from Philly, DJ Phil from Philly, host Phil from Philly. And I'd get booed off the stage every time I said I was from Philadelphia. When I would say I'm an Eagles fan, and when I would get on stage and randomly go Eagles, everybody would boo because everybody hates Philly. Predictions. I hate predictions. I don't do it like we'll do a 53-man roster prediction, but not for like 3 or 4 more weeks. We won't do a record prediction till the Monday before the first game. Coatesville, you're not far from me in Coatesville, bro. You got to come out to my pizza shop. Coatesville's only like 25 minutes away, Eric. Come on out to the pizza shop. Let me make you a pizza. Come on, man. Yeah. Dude, there's so much that I had on my list here today that we didn't even tackle, guys. It's been a great show. Again, 5 likes, 15 likes on YouTube. Wow, we got that up. Good job, guys. 5 on Facebook. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Guys, I think you guys scared the mad chatter out of the conversation. You know, the Eli thing, you guys scared him away. Don't scare my people away. Quez didn't struggle as much as people making it. He just had mistakes at crucial times. Exactly. And see, there's the thing, like high catch percentage, okay, maybe. And less drops, maybe. That goes into my A.J. Brown philosophy, which we don't have enough time to get back into that. Oh, he's still listening. I thought you got scared away because I didn't like your Eli conversation. Look, anyway, back to the point. The Quez part here, Drew, I think this is interesting because this is kind of something that I brought up last year on this show when I was on my previous network about Reese Hoskins in the playoffs and how he was always what's happening there? Something's happening on my phone there. How he made a few errors in the playoffs, but they were amplified because of the moment. Quez's mistakes, he only had 3 mistakes, really. They were just in huge moments, and that's a problem. And I think that was part of it right there for sure. Week 2, I will be in Mexico. Mexico for week 2. I was in Mexico week 2 last year for the Vikings game. I'll be in Mexico again this year. We'll get into that, what I'm going to do show-wise while I'm in Mexico. There won't be regular shows. There might not be any shows, but there'll be videos. There'll be content. Don't you worry. Go to Mexico every year for my anniversary with my wife. I'm going to Mexico this year, all inclusive. So, yeah, that was 99 at Phil. I'm in Bowling. Oh, gotcha. Duh. You've said that before. I just saw the Coatesville. I'm like, it's right up the street. Not far from me. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to touch on some of these things I wanted to talk about. The flopping and the extra challenge call in the NBA rules, it's official. Now, Major League Baseball wants to change the pitch clock rules for the playoffs. Maybe the players do. I don't know. I didn't really watch much of the All-Star game. We're going to talk a little Phillies tomorrow. Maybe. I doubt it. Maybe there'll be a live cast. I'll do at least one live show from Mexico. Yeah, I mean, dude, last year I tweeted a picture of me and my wife, and I was in my Lane Johnson jersey in Mexico for the game, and Lane Johnson retweeted it out and commented. It's like my claim to fame, like, Lane Johnson saw my post. Yay, you know? If you need any, I've looked at a lot of them. Dude, I'm telling you, I love it. I love those all-inclusive Cancun resorts, man. This will be our 3rd year in a row doing it, so I'm a big fan. But yeah, tomorrow, guys, go to my Twitter page where this hand, at Beard of Knowledge, if you haven't already. There's a Twitter thread on my page. You might have to page down a little bit. I'll bump it up after the show of what ifs in Philadelphia Eagles history. What if this didn't happen, or what if this did happen? It is a fantastic thread, and I think I really want to have a lot of fun tomorrow with that thread. This week's been a fun. We didn't do a show yesterday because I had my monthly huge Amazon order at my pizza shop. I was in work at like 6:30 yesterday morning, cooking pizzas. But this week has been so great getting back to just talking football every day. I'm excited. Tuesday started training camp. So I want to have a little fun with some football conversation tomorrow. And this what if thread. What if this didn't happen? It'd be great. Yeah, the super chat would be great. I always appreciate it. I've only had 1 super chat so far. But I can't really go too much longer today because, again, like I said, I'm going to be doing a recording in about 30 minutes for PHL 17, the TV channel, Sports Scene with Jason Lee. I'll be on his TV show tonight. So I've got to do that interview at 10 a.m. So I need time to go change. I got to put a Trending in the AM T-shirt on, and I gotta be on time for that. I can't be late for that. But super chats are always appreciated. Ryan, thank you for tuning in, man. Greatly appreciate it. We're here every day, 8:30 a.m., sometimes early. It'll probably be an early start tomorrow, 8:10, probably 8:15 tomorrow, because this what if conversation is massive. Yeah, dude, $5 super chats, $1 super chats, any super chats are appreciated. Everybody have a great day. I got to wrap this up, guys. For Trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network, I am Phil Stiefel. We'll be back tomorrow with the what ifs and Eagles history conversation, plus whatever else happens today. Y'all have a great day. Back tomorrow. I'm Phil Stiefel. Thanks for tuning in, guys.